I thought it was just another fancy party, but when I showed up in my best dress, smiling and ready, the security guard looked me up and down and said, "You're not on the list." My heart dropped, and that's when everything changed, including how my husband reacted. Hi, I'm sharing a story that changed how I saw myself and how the world sees women like me. If you've ever felt invisible, unwanted, or judged, stay with me. You're not alone. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment I'm worthy if you've ever been underestimated. I've always been the kind of woman who walks into a room and owns it, not with noise, but with presence. I don't need attention, but I've earned respect. Being a black woman in spaces where people don't expect you to shine, that's been my quiet revolution. I'm married to a man who saw that in me from the beginning. He's successful, one of those names you read about in business magazines. But to me, he's just the man who makes my coffee sweet, even when life gets bitter. We don't put our love on display. No Instagram shows, no red carpet kisses. Just two people holding each other down in a world that doesn't always clap for women like me. When I heard about the annual charity gala, one his company hosts every year, it felt different this time. I wanted to go, not just as his plus one, but as his partner. I'd spent weeks preparing. I had my gown custom-made deep emerald silk that complemented my skin like a secret only I knew. I booked the best makeup artist in town and even practiced my walk in heels across our marble floors. I was ready to step into that room with pride, beauty, and belonging. Or so I thought. The night of the gala finally arrived. I remember stepping out of the car feeling like royalty. My heels clicked confidently on the pavement as I approached the entrance. Heads turned, people whispered. I smiled, holding my clutch close, ready to enjoy the night. As I reached the velvet rope, a security guard held up his hand gently. He had a clipboard and that expression that says, "Sorry in advance." "Name, please." I gave it to him, proud and sure. He scanned the list, then again, slower. "I'm sorry," he said, confused. "You're not on the guest list." I laughed, thinking it was a simple mistake. "You must have missed it. I'm his wife." I pointed toward the huge poster behind him that featured my husband, the man hosting this entire thing. But the guard just shook his head, politely but firmly. "Ma'am, your name isn't here. I can't let anyone in who's not listed." I blinked, stunned. My voice caught in my throat. For a moment, I thought maybe I had the wrong day, or maybe the assistant forgot to add me. But deep down, it didn't feel like a mistake. It felt intentional. People were watching now. The valet, some guests in line, and a woman in a silver dress who smirked like she'd been waiting for this to happen. I could feel the weight of their eyes, not just seeing me, but judging me, wondering what I was doing there, assuming maybe I didn't belong. Every part of me wanted to scream, to cry, to defend myself. But I didn't. I simply nodded, turned around, and walked back to my car with my head high, but my heart in pieces. I sat there for a while, no music, no tears yet, just silence and shock. Had he forgotten me? Was this a mistake or a message? My phone was silent, no calls, no texts from him asking where I was. I felt invisible, like everything I'd done to earn my place had just been erased by a missing name on a list. But deep inside, something told me. This night wasn't over yet, not by a long shot. As I sat in that car, something deeper than embarrassment started to rise in me. A memory, a feeling, that familiar ache of being overlooked, counted out, doubted, simply because I didn't look like what they expected. This wasn't the first time. I was born and raised in a small town where being black, bold, and bright wasn't exactly celebrated. I learned early how to carry myself with strength, even when I felt invisible. My mum used to tell me, "Don't let them tell you where you can or can't go. You belong wherever your feet take you." I took that to heart. I worked hard, graduated top of my class, got a scholarship, built a career speaking, teaching, consulting, helping companies understand inclusion, power, and presence. That's how I met him, my husband. At a leadership conference where I was the keynote speaker, he came up to me after my talk, said my words stopped him in his tracks, said I spoke like someone who'd already walked through fire and came out glowing. We didn't fall into some fairy tale romance. It was grown, respectful, real. He saw my mind before he ever tried to hold my hand, and that meant everything to me. Even after we married and I stepped into his world of private jets, luxury hotels, and high-powered business dinners, I never let go of who I was. I wore my natural hair when I wanted to. I corrected people when they called me just the wife. I stood tall, but the truth is, not everyone liked that. There were whispers. Women in his circle who'd smile at me but never invite me. People who asked me if I was the stylist or event planner. One even assumed I was hired help. He always told me to ignore it, that I didn't need their approval, and maybe that was true. But sitting outside that gala, in a dress I chose to celebrate myself, not impress them, I couldn't help but wonder. Had someone decided I didn't fit the image? That I didn't look like his type? That night felt different. Not just like I was left off a list, it felt like I was erased on purpose, and I was about to find out why. I stayed in that car for over an hour, just sitting, looking at my phone like it owed me answers. No text, no call, no "where are you?" And with every minute that passed, my thoughts started to twist into something heavier, something colder. What if he didn't forget? What if he let it happen? I mean, how could something like that slip past him? This was his event, his guest list, his world. How did his wife not make the list? It didn't add up. I scrolled through our last messages. Just a short "see you tonight" from earlier that day. Simple, sweet, normal. Nothing to suggest that anything was wrong. But now I was questioning everything. My mind went in circles. Was I being paranoid? Or was I finally seeing what had always been there, me on the outside of a world I thought I'd been invited into? I thought about driving home, washing my face, pretending the night never happened. But something in me refused. I didn't come this far, live this life, and survive the storms I've weathered, just to be turned away like I was nothing. I looked at my reflection in the rearview mirror, the shimmer of my eyeshadow, the curve of my lips, the pain hiding behind the polish. I took a deep breath, held it, then let it out slowly. It steadied me. Still nothing from him. That silence was the loudest part. Even if it was a mistake, even if it wasn't his fault, I couldn't understand how he hadn't noticed yet. I imagined him inside, smiling for pictures, giving speeches, raising glasses, while I sat outside wondering if I mattered. I started to feel foolish. And that was the hardest part. Not the guard, not the stares, not even being turned away. It was feeling like maybe I was alone in this. Until suddenly, my phone lit up. Unknown number. I answered. A woman's voice, breathless and urgent. "Hi, Mrs. Your husband's been looking for you everywhere. Where are you?" And just like that, the energy shifted. I told the woman on the phone exactly what happened, how I'd shown up on time, dressed and ready, only to be told I wasn't on the list. I tried to keep my voice steady, but I could hear it cracking. She gasped. "What? That doesn't make any sense. Your name was on the original list. I saw it myself. Hold on, I'm coming out." 10 minutes later, I saw her rush through the doors of the venue. A younger woman in heels too high and nerves too raw. She looked genuinely panicked. "Your husband's furious," she said. "He's been asking about you since the second he stepped in. No one knew where you were. When he found out you hadn't arrived, he stopped everything." Then she said something that made my stomach drop. "Someone changed the list. Your name was removed yesterday. Removed, not missed, not forgotten, removed." I felt my body tense, my mind racing. Why? Who would do that? And why me? She led me back through the entrance, this time without question. The same security guard who had denied me earlier now stood to the side, eyes lowered. I didn't look at him. I didn't need to. Inside, I could already hear his voice, strong, sharp, and full of controlled fury. "I want her name now," he said to a group of event staff huddled near the entrance. She was on the list. Someone took her off. And then, like a storm parting, his eyes met mine. His face changed. Relief, guilt, rage all mixed into one. He rushed toward me, pulled me into a hug, held my face in his hands. "I'm so sorry, I had no idea." I believed him. In that moment, I truly did. His voice shook with something real. "I'm going to fix this." Before I could even respond, he turned, walked straight into the main room and called for attention. Everyone turned to face him, and then he named her. The woman in the silver dress, the one who had smirked earlier, a long-time board member, old money, old ideas. She'd done it, quietly, cruelly, on purpose. Because to her, someone like me didn't belong. But what happened next? She didn't see that coming. The room went completely silent as he stood there, arm around me, eyes locked on hers. "This woman," he said, pointing straight at the board member in the silver dress, "intentionally removed my wife from the guest list." You could hear a pin drop. People looked at each other in disbelief. Some gasped. Others turned their eyes away, pretending not to know what had happened. But the woman in silver, she didn't flinch. She just smiled, tight, smug, like she still had the upper hand. "She said it was a clerical error," my husband continued, his voice rising. "But the documents say otherwise. Her assistant admitted she gave the order because apparently she didn't think my wife's presence reflected the image of this company." He paused, looked around the room. "Let me make something clear," he said, voice steady now, but dangerous in its calm. "My wife reflects everything good about this company. She reflects everything good about me. And if you can't respect her, you don't belong here." The audience stood frozen. Then he turned to her. "Your services are no longer needed. You're off the board, effective immediately." Her face fell. For the first time all night, the confidence drained from her eyes. She tried to respond, but he didn't give her the chance. Security escorted her out quietly, no fanfare, no fuss. Just like she'd tried to do to me. And just like that. The power shifted. My husband took my hand and walked me to the center of the room. Then, in front of the guests, the press, the cameras, he said, "This event was about giving back, about integrity, about respect, and I can't think of a better person to speak on that tonight than my wife." I was stunned. He handed me the microphone, and suddenly all those years of feeling underestimated, all the times I'd been silenced or dismissed, they came rushing back, but not to weigh me down. They gave me strength. I took a deep breath, looked around the room, and for the first time that night, I felt seen. I stood there, mic in hand, heart pounding like a drum. Not out of fear, but out of purpose. The kind that only comes when you've been pushed too far and finally decide you're done being quiet. I looked around the room. All those eyes that once stared through me were now focused on me, curious, awkward, a little nervous, good. I smiled, not to impress, but to remind them. I didn't need anyone's permission to stand here. "I wasn't going to speak tonight," I began, my voice clear and calm. "I came here to support my husband, not to take the stage. But when I was turned away at the door, when someone decided I didn't belong here, it reminded me of something I've known all my life." I paused. Let it sink in. Some people don't need a reason to doubt you. The way you look, the way you speak, the fact that you walk with your head high, it threatens them. But I've learned something, and I hope every woman listening hears this. You don't need their approval to exist boldly. People started nodding. A few even clapped. I'm not just someone's wife. I am a builder, a leader, and a voice, and I will never apologize for taking up space. This time, the applause came louder. And if you've ever been told you don't belong, I want you to know you do, not because someone allows it, but because you decide it. I stepped back, handed the mic to the host, and walked off stage with more grace than I'd ever known I had. That night wasn't just a turning point, it was a launch pad. A few days later, I announced the creation of my own foundation, the Scene Initiative, a space dedicated to mentoring young black girls, helping them break into rooms they're too often kept out of, and reminding them that they were never the problem. My husband backed me completely, not just with money, but with his voice, with action, because being powerful alone is one thing, but standing together, that's unstoppable. Sometimes the moments meant to break you are the ones that reveal who you truly are. That night at the gala, I thought I was being humiliated. I thought I was alone. But looking back, I realize I was being pushed into the spotlight I had earned a long time ago. I just needed to step into it. It's easy to believe that being quiet keeps the peace, that shrinking yourself keeps things smooth. But the truth is, every time we silence ourselves to make others comfortable, we lose a little piece of who we are. And I'm done losing. I faced stares that said, "You don't belong." I've been the only black woman in a room full of polished smiles and cold hearts. I've been underestimated more times than I can count. But every time I've come back stronger, louder, brighter. And that night, that was the last time anyone tried to dim my light. My husband and I had a long conversation after the gala about protection, about presence, about making sure silence never becomes complicity. He understood, and more importantly, he listened. That mattered more than any grand gesture ever could. Since then, the foundation has grown faster than I imagined. Girls from all over are reaching out, sharing their stories, finding their voices. It's humbling, it's healing, it's hope. And to the woman who removed me from that list, thank you. You reminded me that being removed doesn't mean I was erased. It just meant I needed a new room, one where the walls didn't close in, but echoed my voice louder. To every woman who's ever felt like she was too much or not enough, you are exactly right, just the way you are. Don't let anyone uninvite you from your own life. If this story touched something inside you, don't let it end here. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded of their power. Leave a comment, tell me your moment, your fight, your voice. And don't forget to subscribe for more real stories that don't just inspire, they ignite. You belong right here, right now. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise.